welcome back to Wrestling Flash. In this WWE and all things wrestling video we are going to look at The Rock's WWE return at WrestleMania, the Fiend's 6-word message to Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss praises Bray Wyatt, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns to face each other again after SummerSlam. Major plans for Charlotte Flair's return. First, let's look at Alexa Bliss praises Bray Wyatt. Alexa Bliss gave massive praise to former WWE superstar Bray Wyatt in her recent chat with Metro.co.uk. Little Miss Bliss and Bray Wyatt's pairing on WWE TV received a mixed response from the WWE universe. While many fans tuned in every week to keep up with the angle, others felt that it was too over the top. Wyatt was released by WWE last year but still has many admirers in the company, with Bliss being one of them. While speaking with Metro.co.uk, Bliss heaped major praise on Wyatt. Everyone wanted to work with Windham. He's just so good and so creatively genius. He puts so much effort into his craft, and for me it was, how do I create something alongside him without lowering his integrity, lowering his character, lowering his stuff? Because you have to try to rise to the occasion instead of bringing the other person down to match your level. I really tried in that sense to at least do his character justice. He's the best, said Bliss. Alexa Bliss returned to WWE TV in May following a brief hiatus. Over the past 6 years, Bliss has established herself as one of the most successful female stars of all time. She has won numerous title belts and has also held the Money in the Bank briefcase. Bliss is set to be a future WWE Hall of Famer. Wyatt hasn't stepped back into the squared circle ever since he was let go by WWE. Replying to fans on his Instagram, he opened up on a possible return to the ring and hinted that he would make a return somewhere down the line. He also shared an update on his health and stated that he's never been healthier, physically or mentally. The Fiend's final words to Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss recently revealed Bray Wyatt's final words to her before he left WWE. Wyatt, aka Windham Rotunda, was let go by WWE in 2021 in one of the biggest releases in years. He worked with Alexa Bliss for the better part of his final year in WWE. The two superstars were involved in a months-long storyline with WWE veteran Randy Orton, which ended with Orton picking up a win over Wyatt at WrestleMania 37. Alexa Bliss recently had a chat with Metro.co.uk and disclosed what it was like to work with Bray Wyatt during his final months in WWE. She shared what he said before leaving, and added that she would love to work with him if he ever returns. Before he left, he just said, "Keep it alive, keep it going." So I took that to heart and tried to keep it alive and going. If he ever did return, 100% I'd want to work with him, she said. At the Show of Shows, Wyatt's alter ego The Fiend faced his arch-rival Randy Orton in a singles match. The bout ended in Orton's favor after Bliss distracted The Fiend. She later stated that didn't need Wyatt anymore and introduced the WWE Universe to her new friend, a doll named Lily. Wyatt's Firefly Funhouse persona also made an appearance on Raw after WrestleMania and said that he was looking forward to a new beginning. The angle didn't go anywhere and Wyatt was released by WWE in July. Bray was arguably one of the most creative minds in WWE. Alexa learned a lot from him during their run together. As for a Wyatt-Bliss reunion, only time will tell if fans ever get to see the duo together again. Major plans for Charlotte Flair's return. Charlotte Flair has been out of action since she lost an I Quit match to Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania Backlash. She took a sabbatical from the company to marry Andrade El Idolo. Reports have now come out stating she could be back soon and might factor into SummerSlam plans as well. Liv Morgan won the SmackDown Women's Championship at Money in the Bank by cashing in her contract on Ronda Rousey. The current plan is for Rousey and Morgan to take on each other at SummerSlam. However, Flair could return and cost one of the two women their match. As per Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, the Queen is ready for her return to WWE, and she could be back as early as SummerSlam. Since WWE is planning a match between Morgan and Rousey, Flair returning to intervene would help advance her long-running feud with the baddest woman on the planet. Charlotte Flair should be ready to return, so that could be her costing one or the other that match. It will be hard for Rousey to be a babyface against Morgan, even if she was the good sport about losing her title under unfair circumstances, noted Meltzer. Dave Meltzer also talked about the possibility of Liv Morgan losing her newly won championship soon. He said that WWE sometimes puts the title on a superstar just for the crowd reaction without there being any intention of a long push. However, he noted that even in such cases, superstars get to keep the title for at least a few months. Flair's return could help build a big program between her and Liv Morgan after SummerSlam. The Queen would be the perfect heel to take on Morgan's current run as the top babyface on the blue brand. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns to face each other again after SummerSlam. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns are set to clash again at SummerSlam this year. While the match is being built as the last time they will face each other, the claim might not be accurate. The Tribal Chief became the undisputed Universal Champion after beating Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 38. Since then, he has only defended his titles once as he got the better of Riddle last month on SmackDown. His second title defense will be against Lesnar again, in a last-man-standing match at SummerSlam. Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer Newsletter noted that they have been told this will not be the final time the two men will face each other. There has been a promotional push of this match as a last time ever meeting between the two, but we are told that they don't think that's official because what if we need it again due to an injury situation or another situation where they have someone fall out of a match like Orton did here and Lesnar is called because it's such a big show, said Meltzer. Lesnar and Reigns have already faced each other twice over the past year, with the latter getting the better of his opponent on both occasions. Though 3 straight losses at the hands of the Tribal Chief could be detrimental to the Beast incarnate, that is what the probability is. As per the betting odds for the match, Reigns is the current favorite to win. Brock Lesnar holds multiple wins over Roman Reigns. However, he has been unable to beat Reigns since returning with a new character last year. The original plan was to have Reigns face Randy Orton at SummerSlam. Unfortunately, due to a back injury, the Viper will be out of action for months and the company had to bring Lesnar back. The Rock's WWE return at WrestleMania. Former WWE magazine writer Brian R. Solomon recently gave his take on the potential Roman Reigns vs. The Rock match at WrestleMania 39. The undisputed WWE Universal Champion has not been a regular on the company's programming since defeating Brock Lesnar to become the undisputed champion at WrestleMania 38. His most recent appearance came on the June 17th episode of SmackDown, where he defeated Riddle to retain his title. Solomon, an author and former employee of WWE magazine, believes that the promotion currently has the 37-year-old champion in a holding pattern. He recently spoke with the Cheap Heat Productions podcast and said that there aren't too many options for the Tribal Chief right now. Brian said that there are superstars that Reigns could have a good match with, but fans know that they are not going to defeat him. During the interview, Solomon also discussed the rumored match between The Rock and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39. He stated that a match between the two cousins is bigger than the title. We're thinking The Rock might be on the horizon for WrestleMania, but like I've said before, they don't need the title for that match. That match is bigger than the title. You can have Rock versus Roman, Cody versus somebody, maybe Brock for the title. The more I think about it, the more I think that might actually be what happens, Solomon said. The special counsel to the Tribal Chief recently joined Sportskeeda Wrestling for an interview to talk about the potential matchup between Reigns and the People's Champion. He claimed that the match is simply a fantasy at the moment and will remain that way until The Rock puts his name on a contract. It's a fantasy of Dwayne Johnson to feel the energy of 20, 30, 40, 50, 100,000 people live, cheering on as the Tribal Chief smashes The Rock. Heyman added, it's a fantasy of Dwayne Johnson to step into the ring with the greatest of all time, Roman Reigns. Then, now, and forever. Not until he puts his name on a contract, it's just his fantasy. It remains to be seen whether a WrestleMania match between the Tribal Chief and the Brahma Bull will eventually take place at the Show of Shows.